What's going on, everybody? Robert Posey here. I got my 5 minutes and I'm going to try to make the very best use of it. Anik, thanks so much for the opportunity. I'm going to get right into it. So, some of you know I build sales teams. Probably most of you know I build sales teams. My teams close for your offers. That's what I do. And there's a crucial mistake that it seems everybody makes. I want to point that out to you. Actually, in fact, I have this sweet video here. It's called Diffusion of Innovations book, by Everett M. Rogers. I wish I could claim fame for what it is that I'm about to show you, but it's not my own thing. I just observed it and applied it to our industry, especially internet marketing, B2B and B2C offers. BizOp, it works tremendously well for. If you're closing sales, this is important. Pay attention. So, here we have a timeline. Here's a bell curve. Typically what happens, some of you are familiar with this chart. These proportions are not exact, but your first buyer type is called an innovator. Innovator. Your next buyer type in this area is an early adopter. Over here you have early majority. Then you have your late majority. Late adopters. And lastly, you have laggards. I put LAG for laggards. So what happens? Everybody who comes to me wants to build a sales team. Typically their offer, they start here. It starts to get some traction. And they're going to hire me and my team somewhere between these points right here. Right in there, you have innovators and early adopters. These people, it might seem like they know you, and some of them probably do. You need to be very honest with yourself. But here's what happens. These people are innovators and adopters. Think Tesla, brand new electric car. These people are going to make a purchase, and they're going to do it relatively quickly. Because, oh wow, new technology, I'll give it a shot. They're also a portion of this market that is capable of making a purchasing decision, making a buying decision. They have money, they have the funds, they have the time, the resources, and they're perfect in the position ready to buy your thing. Next, after they hire us, what happens every single time? We scale them. We've been historically very successful at getting offers scaled to what would seem like the peak. Anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 is where somebody will come to us per month and they'll say, hey, I can't take anymore. I need a sales team. They hire us, we take over, and we usually take them from $250,000 to $500,000 per month before we start to hit anything resembling the top of a bell curve. Every time though, what happens is we're progressing through your market, and your market is based on your marketing. How have you built your audience? So as we progress later and later into this market, we're going to find that the way that they make decisions is different. They don't have as much trust. They're not as inclined to make these buying decisions as quickly. Maybe they do need to talk to their wife. Maybe they don't have as much money. And maybe that's because they aren't inherently risk takers. There's 101 million things about the sociology of these types of buyers. But I'm going to teach you how to combat it. I'm running out of time, but let's see if we can get there. Every time we get someone to this peak, magically, all of a sudden, the numbers will fall down. Why? Too much attention to one channel, one offer. They're only focused on the one thing, and because they scale too quickly, they have amazing expectations, or rather crazy expectations. We match them and their whole thing falls apart. So what can you do? If you want to create a timeline that looks more like an S-bend, then along this path, I want you to pay attention to a handful of things. Number one, customer success. Your customers are your best marketing, period. A single perfect testimonial video could be responsible for upwards of $250, $1 million if you're marketing and putting the budget behind that video. Customer success is where you get testimonials. Period, point blank. It needs to be a thought in your process. Number two, multi-channel advertising. If you're not organic, if you're focused on Facebook only, then you are doing the wrong thing, or rather you're doing only a portion of the right thing. You need to focus on organic. You need to focus on Facebook. You need to focus on Instagram, YouTube, Google. All of these other things are going to expand your peak. So it might be that you peak here or here or here, but in either way, you're going to fall off. There's more to this equation. Number three, we want upsells, cross-sells, upsells, cross-sells, and downsells. These must be in place. Number four, referral systems. If you're going to spend all this time on customer success and you're going to pay for advertising, you might as well capitalize on the people who do make decisions slower. You might as well focus on the groups of people who aren't necessarily in your direct marketplace, but maybe your friends, your clients can speak to their friends, etc., etc. Number five, follow-up processes. Like I said, if you're spending the money to get these people in, it's not about a one-call close. Yes, you can make one-call closes and you can hit this peak here very quickly. You can also burn through all of your leads, all of the ones who don't make decisions as quickly because you think that your sales team did a bad job. I want this to be clear and evident. If you hit these 5 points, I promise you will build more longevity into your offer than you thought possible, and you won't have to come to someone like me 3-6 months from now wondering why the hell it fell apart. That's my 8 minutes. Thank you very much for my time. I'll be here all week.